Welcome back to my channel. He stood in that courtroom like a man cornered by his own past, fists clenched, jaw locked, and every secret he buried now circling back to devour him. On one side, a wife glaring through tears. On the other, one already broken. And between them, Kody Brown, the man who once preached unity, now standing trial for betrayal. The judge's voice cut through the tension like a blade. Mr. Brown, are you prepared to admit the truth about what you did? Silence. Heavy. Cold. And just like that, everything began to unravel. This wasn't just a divorce. It was an eruption. Years of lies, hidden bank accounts, and broken promises colliding under the harsh light of justice. Welcome to the most explosive courtroom showdown in Sister Wives history. The gavel struck once. The sound echoed through a room filled not just with people, but with ghosts. Ghosts of love, loyalty, and a decade of deception. At the center, Kody Brown, once the proud patriarch of a polygamous dream, now the defendant in a public reckoning. To his right, Robyn Brown, tear-streaked but defiant, clinging to Kody's hand like it's the last piece of control she has left. To his left, Christine, Janelle, and Meri, silent, steady, united. Three women once bound by faith, now bonded by fire. The judge adjusted her glasses. This court will now hear the case of Brown versus Brown. Allegations include financial fraud, emotional distress, and concealment of marital assets. Christine stood. Her navy blazer caught the light as she spoke with a calm fury that silenced even the cameras. Your Honor, we were lied to for years. He promised equality financially and spiritually. But the moment we questioned him, he rewrote the rules. And everything went to her. Her finger pointed across the room to Robyn. A gasp rippled through the gallery. Christine slid a thick folder across the table. These are the bank statements, property records, and contracts. They show a pattern. Money diverted, signatures forged, and a family destroyed. Boom. The first punch landed. The judge's expression hardened as she read the papers. Mr. Brown, you are accused of siphoning joint finances into private accounts under your and Mrs. Robyn Brown's names. Do you understand these charges? Kody stood slowly. I understand, he said. But his voice wasn't remorseful. It was cold, bitter, like a man angry that he got caught. Christine's eyes never left him. You twisted our lives, Kody. You built an empire on our sacrifices, and you handed it to her. The courtroom crackled with tension. Christine's lawyer, Attorney Sutton, stepped forward, sharp, fearless. Let's be clear, Your Honor. This wasn't a family. It was a financial setup. Mr. Brown built a dynasty for one wife while leaving the others with nothing. A screen flickered to life. Transactions, withdrawals, wire transfers. In 2019, Sutton narrated, Mr. Brown closed the joint Flagstaff fund and transferred $63,000 to a private account. Weeks later, a home purchased under Robyn Brown's name. All eyes shifted to Robyn. Her face drained of color. I didn't know, she whispered. He said it was just paperwork. The judge leaned forward. Are you saying you were unaware of these transfers? Kody squeezed her hand. Don't answer that. The judge snapped. Mr. Brown, you will not speak for the witness. Robyn's voice trembled. I trusted him. Then came the twist. Attorney Sutton displayed text messages. Kody to contractor. Robyn's name only. No need to involve the others. This is our future. He wasn't protecting assets, Sutton said. He was rewriting the family in his image. The room erupted. Gasps, whispers, reporters scribbling furiously. But it wasn't over. Christine's team revealed a hidden recording, a family meeting secretly filmed. Kody's voice echoed through the speakers. I'm done pleasing everyone. Christine complains. Janelle questions everything. Meri doesn't know what she wants. Robyn's the only one who supports me. That's why I'm building a future with her. A collective breath was drawn and held. Janelle whispered, that's who he really is. Christine turned to the judge. We weren't wives. We were obstacles. The gavel hit hard. 10-minute recess. Outside, chaos. Cameras, reporters, whispers. Christine told her lawyer, "He'll never admit the truth. But we have proof and we're not stopping." Meanwhile, KODY'S slammed the wall. "This is a witch hunt," he shouted. Robin's voice shook. "We have to fix this." KODY didn't even look at her. When court resumed, all eyes were on Robin Brown. She walked to the stand, pale, trembling, trying to steady her breath. Sworn in, she faced Christine's lawyer. "Mrs. Brown," Sutton said softly, "were you aware that family funds were transferred into accounts under your name?" "I didn't handle the money," Robin whispered. "KODY did." "But you signed the property deeds?" A pause. "Yes, but he told me what to sign." "And you didn't question it?" Tears welled. "I just wanted stability. He said it was to protect us." Then Janelle's voice cut through the silence, raw and furious. "Temporary? That's what he told you?" The judge tried to restore order, but it was too late. The truth was spilling. Attorney Sutton leaned in. "So, Mrs. Brown, you admit that KODY used joint funds for private assets and you signed off on it. You say you didn't know it was wrong?" "I trusted my husband," Robin cried. "How long has this been going on?" Robin hesitated. "Since 2020. A gasp. Christine froze. "That was when Truly had surgery. We were broke. You told me there was no money left." The room shook with outrage. And just when it seemed it couldn't get worse, Sutton revealed a final piece of evidence. An email from Robin to KODY, dated December 4th, 2021. The subject line, "Keeping it between us." The attorney read aloud, "If we move everything into my name, it'll give us leverage. Christine's getting suspicious. Just tell her we're tightening the budget. She won't look deeper. Meri doesn't care. Janelle's too nice." The courtroom fell silent. Robin covered her face. Christine's voice cracked. "So it was a plan." Janelle whispered, "I always knew." Even Meri, the quietest of them all, leaned back, devastated. The judge turned to Robin. "Mrs. Brown, did you write that email?" And for the first time, Robin said nothing. Not a word. Because silence, in that courtroom, was louder than any confession. The moment hung in the air like a secret no one wanted to touch. Robin's voice was trembling when she finally answered, "Yes." The courtroom froze. The judge inhaled deeply, her tone firm but grave. "Mrs. Brown, please step down from the stand. This court is now in possession of evidence confirming intent to isolate other family members from joint property and funds. We will continue with rebuttal testimony in the next session." The gavel struck, sharp, final, echoing through the courtroom like a door slamming shut on an era. And just like that, the sister-wives' legacy cracked in half. Outside, chaos erupted. Cameras flashed. News vans crowded the courthouse steps. Fans waved signs, some cheering for Christine, others defending Robin. What once stood as a symbol of faith and unity had now become a battlefield of betrayal. Inside, the silence was deafening. Robin sat curled up in a chair, mascara running down her face. KODY entered quietly, tension written in every step. "You said they'd never see that email," she whispered, voice breaking. "I didn't think they would," KODY muttered, avoiding her eyes. "You told me it was going to be okay." He clenched his jaw, turning away. "I told you to delete those things. You kept everything." Robin looked up, her voice cracking. "Do you even care that we hurt them?" KODY didn't answer. He just stared at the wall, a man trapped in his own reflection. Meanwhile, down the hall, Christine sat with her attorney, Sutton. "He's not going down easy," Sutton warned. "I don't need him to go down easy," Christine replied. "I just need the world to see who he really is." Janelle entered quietly, a worn manila folder in her hands. "What's that?" Christine asked. Janelle gave a bittersweet smile. "Everything we ever gave up to keep that family going. Every loan, every check, every promise. I think it's time we show the court our side of the sacrifice." Meri stood in the corner, silent, her eyes tired but focused. Back in the courtroom, KODY sat alone at the defendant's table. The seats beside him, once filled with laughter, loyalty, and the illusion of unity, now stood empty. His attorney whispered strategy, but his eyes were fixed on that empty space. For the first time, Kody Brown looked unsure. When the court reconvened, the energy was different. Tense, electric, heavy. Even the judge's tone had shifted, sharper, more alert. Everyone sensed it. Something big was coming. Because now, this wasn't just about stolen money. It was about intent, manipulation, control. It was about the truth finally catching up to the man who thought he could outrun it. Then, the courtroom doors opened, and in walked Gwen Brown. The room went silent. She wasn't just another witness. She was a daughter, walking into the storm her father created. Her expression was calm, her jaw set, her presence powerful. The judge looked up. "Miss Brown, are you here under subpoena or voluntarily?" "Voluntarily," Gwen replied. "Because the lies have gone on long enough." Kody sat upright, his face stiff. Robin's lips parted. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. Christine gave her daughter a subtle nod of pride. Attorney Sutton rose. "Your Honor, the witness has brought forward a recording made in December 2022, a private family discussion relevant to the charges before this court." Kody's attorney jumped to his feet. "Objection. That was a private conversation." The judge raised a hand. "Was this recorded by someone present?" "Yes, Your Honor," Gwen replied. "It was my phone. I was sitting right there." Objection overruled. The lights dimmed slightly as the video began to play.
A shaky camera angle.
The faint sound of chairs, murmurs. Then, Kody's unmistakable voice filled the courtroom. "We need to be strategic, Robin." Christine stirring up the others. "If we give them anything, they'll use it against us. Move everything into your name." Janelle's soft, Meri's all bark. But Christine, she's dangerous. She knows too much. A collective gasp swept across the room. Christine's hands trembled. Gwen sat still, staring straight ahead. Then her voice, faint in the background of the recording, asked, "What about the money from the Flagstaff Fund?" Kody's voice replied, cold and sharp, "It's ours now." They walked away, Gwen. "You leave the table. You don't get to keep your plate." Janelle's jaw clenched. Meri let out a quiet, disbelieving laugh. The courtroom could barely breathe. Then Robin's voice came through the speakers. "Should we just tell them we're refinancing again? They never ask for details." "Exactly," Kody replied. "Keep them confused, they'll back off. This is about legacy now. Our legacy." The screen went black. No one moved. Attorney Sutton's voice broke the silence. "No further questions, Your Honor." The judge's face was unreadable. "Mr. Brown," she said slowly, "would you like to respond to this recording?" Kody stood, anger simmering beneath his voice. "That was private. Taken out of context. I was under pressure, trying to preserve what was left of my family. They left me." Christine rose. "No, Kody." "We didn't leave. We were pushed out. Lied to. Replaced." Kody's control snapped. "You left me for another man because you were never loyal." Christine shot back, her voice trembling but fierce. "You weren't a husband. You were a manager. You traded us like assets and gave the throne to Robin." The gavel slammed. Order in the court. But the truth was already out, and Kody Brown's empire was collapsing. The judge spoke again, her voice clear and decisive. "This court finds the recording admissible and relevant to both financial and emotional misconduct. The intent to deceive, as heard in the defendant's own words, will be considered in this trial." Kody slumped in his chair. Robin's hands shook. Even his attorney looked pale. Then Sutton stood once more. "Your Honor, one final point. Mr. Brown repeatedly refers to our legacy. The evidence shows that this legacy included only himself and Robin Brown, excluding his other spouses and their children." The judge nodded. "Noted." Janelle rose, her voice calm but devastating. "I'd like to submit my written testimony." She handed an envelope to the clerk, then turned toward Kody. "You told me once this was about something bigger than all of us." that God wanted this family. But you didn't build a family, Kody. You built a kingdom. And Robin was your queen. The rest of us, we were just workers on your land. The room fell silent. Even the reporters stopped typing. Christine exhaled, not in anger, but in release. Robin's shoulders shook. She whispered something to Kody, but he didn't respond. Outside, social media exploded. Hashtag Kody on trial. Hashtag Brown family breakdown. Hashtag justice for Christine, trending worldwide. And just when everyone thought the storm had reached its peak, a soft voice rose from the back. Your Honor, Meri said quietly. I know I wasn't called to testify yet, but I think it's time. The entire courtroom turned, and the saga took its most unexpected turn yet. The judge paused, then nodded. Proceed. Meri stood and walked to the witness box. Her voice was calm, but there was pain behind it, a quiet storm that had been building for years. I stayed the longest, she began softly, even when there was nothing left to stay for. Because I believed in the covenant. I believed that even if the love faded, the promise wouldn't. She looked directly at Kody. But I was wrong. It wasn't just favoritism. It wasn't just neglect. It was exclusion, systematic, strategic. You made us feel disposable while you made her feel permanent. Tears welled in her eyes. And now you sit there watching all of us burn, pretending you're the victim. Kody's lips trembled, but he didn't speak. The judge leaned forward. Mrs. Brown, do you believe you were emotionally manipulated by the defendant? Meri didn't hesitate. Yes, she said. Over and over again, yes. The judge nodded gravely, then glanced at the bailiff. This court will adjourn for the day. We will reconvene tomorrow morning for cross-examinations and further evidence presentation. The gavel struck, but no one moved. The Brown family sat frozen, like ghosts still tied to the same haunting. Robin sobbed quietly. Kody didn't look at his wives. And Christine, Janelle, and Meri, they didn't look back at him either. They stood together, side by side, like survivors of the same storm. As they exited the courtroom, Gwendolyn joined them, not as a witness, not as a victim, but as a woman reclaiming truth. Session 4 opened with a different kind of tension. The courtroom no longer felt like a theater. It felt like an arena. 3 wives had spoken. 3 testimonies had painted a pattern of deception. The infamous recording had played like a fuse, and now, only ashes and questions remained. And it was time for Kody Brown to fight back. His attorney, a polished showman with confidence sharp enough to cut glass, stood and adjusted his tie. Your Honor, he began smoothly, my client will be the first to admit he's imperfect. But this case is far from the one-sided narrative being portrayed. Mr. Brown acted in good faith to protect his family, their assets, and their legacy from chaos and mismanagement. A murmur rippled through the gallery. The judge's jaw tightened. Proceed. Kody rose. The exhaustion was still visible, but now there was iron behind his eyes. He'd been cornered. Now he was ready to strike. Families change, he began, his tone measured. People leave. And when your family fractures in public, predators circle, lawyers, real estate sharks, outsiders looking to profit from your pain. I had to act fast so my children wouldn't be left exposed. Maybe some decisions were harsh, but I did what I thought was best. His defense called witnesses, realtors, accountants, a forensic analyst. Each explained away his actions with cold, professional precision. They used words like protection, asset sheltering, and tax efficiency. It was all legal, they claimed, logical, necessary. But Christine's attorney, Sutton, wasn't about to let logic drown out morality. You had motive to hide funds, she countered, and you used your authority to manipulate trust, emotionally and financially. That's not protection. That's control. The courtroom buzzed with tension. Kody's lawyer retaliated instantly. Your Honor, my client isn't the only one who made financial moves. Mrs. Brown here, he gestured toward Christine, sold family land without full disclosure, then accused my client of theft. That's not a victim. That's strategy. Christine flinched, as if she'd been slapped. Objection. Sutton roared. If you have evidence, present it. KODY'S lawyer smiled faintly. We do. He laid out a stack of documents, property deeds, bank transfers, signatures. We'll show that Mrs. Brown disposed of assets and used proceeds privately while claiming victimhood publicly. Gasps swept the courtroom. Christine sat in stunned silence as the defense painted her choices as betrayal, her independence reframed as deceit. And suddenly, the man on the stand no longer looked desperate. He looked defiant. Then came the private investigator, the defense's secret weapon. He presented photos, phone logs, and receipts suggesting that Christine, Janelle, and Meri had been quietly consulting financial advisors months before the split. The implication? They'd been preparing to take KODY down long before they accused him of manipulation. Christine's face flushed with anger. So now we're guilty for trying to survive, she spat. We begged for transparency, and he refused. We planned for safety, not sabotage. The judge slammed the gavel. Order. But the chaos didn't stop, because KODY'S final card was yet to be played. His attorney produced a sealed affidavit. The clerk handed it to the judge, creased, aged, as though it had been hidden for years. Your Honor, the lawyer said, this affidavit, sworn by a corporate trustee, alleges that the plaintiffs opened undisclosed lines of credit before the separation, proving they were securing private financial gain. The courtroom erupted. Cameras flashed. Christine went pale. Sutton hissed across the table. We will contest that. The source is biased and produced at the 11th hour. KODY'S attorney smirked. Truth doesn't have a deadline. The judge leaned back, eyes narrowed. This court will review the trustee documents. Admission is deferred until their authenticity is confirmed. The moment froze, tense, unfinished. A temporary victory for KODY, but one built on smoke. The next morning, the courtroom was silent. Heavy. Electric. Meri sat with a yellowed envelope in her lap. Her hands steady. Her eyes clear. The judge looked up. At this time, the court will hear from Mrs. Meri Brown, should she still wish to testify. Meri rose slowly.
Ido.
She stepped forward, the envelope still trembling in her hand. I've stayed quiet for years, she began, voice breaking, because I thought silence would keep us whole. But silence only protected the lie. She passed the envelope to the clerk. This is the original spiritual marriage covenant, signed by all of us in 2011, after Robin joined the family. KODY said it symbolized unity and equality. He said it would protect every wife if anything ever went wrong. The judge opened the brittle paper. It read, We, the undersigned, agree that all property, assets, and income acquired under the Brown family name shall be equally owned and accessible by all wives and KODY Brown, regardless of legal marital status. No wife shall be left without a home or support in the event of separation. A gasp rippled through the courtroom. KODY'S lawyer shot up. Objection, Your Honor. That document holds no legal standing. But Meri cut him off. It held our lives together. And I have proof it was used during financial divisions in 2013 and 2016. That makes it more than symbolic. It makes it binding. The judge's tone hardened. If this covenant guided financial behavior, it may fall under the doctrine of promissory estoppel. KODY blinked. What does that mean? It means, the judge said sharply, you can't promise equality for years, let your wives rely on it, and then revoke it when it no longer benefits you. Gasps filled the room. Christine clutched Janelle's arm. We might actually win this. The gavel struck for recess. Reporters stormed out, phones flashing, headlines already forming. The Brown family covenant, the document that could end it all. KODY paced the hallway, fury in his eyes. Robin sat alone on a bench, mascara streaking her cheeks. And Meri stood by the vending machine, staring into nothing. Christine approached quietly. Why now? She asked. Meri's voice cracked, but her words were steady. Because it took me this long to realize silence doesn't save anyone. It only keeps the guilty comfortable. The producers didn't even give her a final scene.
No goodbye. No confess, Janelle.
No warning. Robin was just gone. But the courtroom wasn't silent. Not anymore. Christine stood, with her arms crossed. Janelle was right beside her. And Kody, he didn't say a word. Because what Robin did wasn't just betrayal. It was a breach of contract. A fraud. A violation of the family legacy they built for television. One that had now collapsed under oath and evidence. The judge leaned forward. "Mrs. Brown," she said, "is it true you redirected funds from the shared family trust into a personal account labeled Robin's Reserve?" Robin's lips trembled. "Yes, primarily mine," she whispered. Gasps filled the courtroom. Christine's attorney stepped forward, placing a document on the screen for everyone to see. Transaction logs. Transfers. Over $342,000 quietly moved into that account between 2017 and 2023. Each deposit labeled with Kody's signature and TLC's production code. Kody's face turned pale. He tried to speak, but the words stuck in his throat. Christine's voice cut through the silence. "You told us family money was gone, that the property couldn't be developed. You told us to wait, to trust you. But all along, you were funding Robin's lifestyle." The audience behind her erupted, whispers, anger, disbelief. The myth of unity shattered. The judge's gavel came down hard. "This court recognizes clear intent to defraud," she said firmly. "Mrs. Brown, you'll answer for this." Robin's eyes welled with tears. Kody turned away, shoulders sinking under the weight of his own choices. Janelle took Christine's hand. Meri stood in the back, silent, watching the empire she once believed in crumble piece by piece. For years, they called it a spiritual marriage, a family of faith. But behind every prayer circle was a checkbook. Behind every confession was a camera. And behind every sister wife was a woman who'd been silenced for too long. Christine looked straight ahead and whispered, "This isn't revenge. It's justice." And for the first time, Kody had nothing left to say.